I'm so grateful that you're here on a Saturday. I read a quote this morning because I was nervous about this. I opened my inspirational book, and the quote was from Hafiz, and it said, "Need brings us together. That makes need sacred." And I know we need each other. I don't know how much you guys need from us, but believe me, ask when you need it, because I'm so grateful you're here. My name is Julie Jetron, and I live on the wild and woolly West Bank, just over yonder. I've lived there for years, moved to Duluth and moved back last year. I've been disabled for a couple decades, but in May 29th of this year, I fell backwards off of my porch and landed full force on my head. 11 staples and 6 months of therapy. I'm grateful, so grateful to be here and speaking to you on behalf of myself and so many hundreds and hundreds of people who can't be here. I'm so grateful for the state for our ME programs. One of the effects of my brain injury on me is, besides, I have quite a few yet, but I've come a long way. The light and the sound, I like to be involved in community and volunteer at the local drop-in centers, but it's really hard to be in groups where there's lots of people and noise and lights, and I'm supposed to take 10-minute breaks. I have been on MA EPD off and on the whole time I've been disabled, except for one time when I had breast cancer in 2000, I had a disability leave, and I had that again this year when I fell. But when I went to go back, when my disability leave was up, I was faced with a spend down for having to work. And that spend down is so terrifying because I don't know how I would survive, and I could possibly end up homeless. So I went back to work against doctor's orders, was able to find an employer miraculously who's given me reasonable accommodations, so I just work 2 hours a week. I have trouble with the buses, that's another issue, because they're too noisy for me. I want to say that the deep poverty that I've experienced when I've had a spend down, if you go to the drop-in centers, they have bingo, and you can play for prizes, and the prizes are things like shampoo or laundry soap. And these are not prizes, these are things that people like me need when we're living in poverty. Living in deep poverty means not being able to have stamps to send your nieces and nephews cards. So this is the kind of thing, if you want to figure out the budget prices, go to people who can live in deep poverty and figure out how people live. They're so courageous. So, Gandhi said that poverty is one of the worst types of violence that there is. So I'm so grateful you're here to listen. One of the ways you can help lift us out of poverty, I think, is to increase the spend down from below poverty, where it is now, to the poverty level. And so that means, I think it's at 80% now, raise it to 100%. And that would mean this big spend down. People would be able to live in, there's so many levels of poverty. I'm rich compared to a lot of my friends. But at least that increase in the spend down would allow people their Social Security disability insurance that we paid into. I worked for years as an administrative person and had my own business. And we pay into that so that those are our living expenses. So I don't think our living expenses should have to be taken for our health care. And also the asset limits. Right now, for a single person without was not an MA, it was on MA, it's $3,000. You can't. I haven't ever saved that much yet personally, but I did have a friend die who left me some money, and I was so scared that I would be kicked out of programs because she didn't, because I was left this money. So if you could raise the asset limits, that would allow people to have some money to save to take care of their car, their house, their health, whatever. So anyway, those are the things that we're asking. Really appreciate you being here.